What if I told you there is a country with over 175 different languages being spoken there, and also boxing fight influences the crime rate in that country? What's up guys, and welcome once again to my YouTube channel. My name is Kano Chinedu Praise. I hope you guys are doing very fine. I hope you guys are doing very good, and I hope you guys are actually staying safe. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you 12 reasons why the Philippines is different from every part of the world. So I want you guys to stay tuned and enjoy this video. If you know you haven't subscribed to this channel and you have been watching my video for quite a very long time, please consider subscribing, turn on your notification bell, and don't forget to smash the like button, and also don't forget to comment on what you think about this video. So without no further ado, let's get back to the video. Number one, Philippines have two official languages. That is the Filipino language and English. The Filipino language consists of the Tagalog and also English. And Filipino is actually the 5th country in the whole world with the highest populations of English speakers, followed by the UK, the US, India, Pakistan, and followed by the Philippines. Tagalog is like one of the major languages being spoken around the whole Philippines, and English is more of like the also second language that is also spoken by the average Filipinos. Tagalog can be found mostly in the provincial areas of the Philippines. That is to say that majority of the people who speak Tagalog are people who actually live in the provinces, and English is actually part of the language being spoken in the city, like areas like Manila, Makati, Cebu, and most of all these are big cities where, you know, politics and also foreigners, or I would say tourists, are actually being well dominated. The capital city, that's Manila, is the mostly densely populated city in the whole world, and the city population comprises of 12.8 million people living in Manila city. Because here in the Philippines, finding a job in the province can be very hard, and sometimes when you find a job in the province, the minimum wage is really very low. So that's why people from other provinces, people from other small islands flock to Manila, because the salary and the daily wage is quite very high. 3, the Philippines have the top 3 biggest malls in the world, and that is, we have the SM Mall of EDSA, we have the SM Mall of Asia, and also we have the SM Mega Mall. Number 4, the Philippines are the #1 texting nation in the whole world with over 140 million texts every day. That is equal to 14.2 billion texts every year, and that is just more than the size of US and Europe altogether. What about the text is that they don't just text how are you doing. They really text for a very long time. Like they could type like a letter size text just for a normal conversation. Because here in the Philippines, if probably they go to visit their friend, or maybe they have some of their family members abroad, and you know, sometimes it's quite very difficult for you to reach them, they actually use text as a form of communication, like real text message, not just saying how are you or how are you doing. No, they really have a real conversation, just like, you know, you're going on a date with someone and you guys are having a very long conversation. That is how it is when it comes to the Philippines. If they can't really see you in person, they can text and chat for quite a very long time. Like they are very intense when it comes to texting, and that is why it is called the texting nation of the world. 5, the Philippines have a very unique form of transportation, that we have the jeepney and also the tricycle form of transportation. Like I said in my previous video, the jeepney are actually buses, or would I say vans, of the World War II that was converted into bus. And also the tricycle is more of like an extra attachment that is being attached to a motorcycle to create an extra space for an additional passenger to actually go inside. And here in Manila City, we have over 50,000 jeepneys that are being operated here in Manila City. And also, one of the disadvantages of this form of transportation is that it really emits smoke, and it also causes air pollution, and sometimes it can actually get you sick. So if you ever find yourself in Manila, don't actually feel surprised, or probably don't feel like, wow, I mean, these people, I mean, it's quite very difficult for me to really deal or maybe enter. But because here in the Philippines, there is always something very new and very unique to actually learn. 6, one of the island called Kamingin Island has more volcanoes than towns than any other island in the whole world. That is to say is this, in that island they have more volcanoes than towns in the whole world. Like I've been to Kamingin Island, and they have so many volcanoes, and what I got to understand is that the volcano mountains that are located in Kamingin Island are more than the towns. Can you imagine that? Like, you have more volcanoes, mountains than towns. They have 7 volcano mountain in Kamingin Island, and also they have 5 towns. So you can actually see the comparison. The volcano is more higher than the towns. So that is why it's called the only town or the only island in the whole world that has the highest volcanoes than town in the whole world. 7, the Philippine national flag has a secret meaning. That is, the 3 stars that you can find in the flag stands for Luzon, Mindanao, and Visayas. What makes the Philippine flag very unique is that it can be used to reverse or declare a state of war, just like during the Philippine Revolutionary War that started in 1898 and ended in 1901. And also, it was also used during the World War II that started in 1941 and ended also in 1945. 8, boxing directly influences the crime rate in the country. What I'm trying to say is that whenever there is a boxing match with the Filipino legend, that is Manny Pacquiao, every form of crime stops. Like, no crime, no stealing, nothing bad actually happens whenever there is a boxing match in the Philippines, because according to the Filipino police algorithm, they said that during every boxing match that is being fought by Pacquiao in any part of the world, it usually influences the crime rate in the country. So whenever there's a boxing match, crime rates drastically reduce and it stops. Number 9, many Filipinos works abroad. According to the census, the Filipino has the highest exporters of nurses around the whole world. I can't actually give a direct reasons why, majority of Filipinos prefer to work abroad, but according to what I think, or according to what I've really heard from some people, the salary also, it has also to do with the salary, because here, if you really want to really work here in the Philippines, the wage every month is not really that okay. And sometimes, you might have family, you might have children, you might have people you're actually depending on, you people who you're actually taking care of, and sometimes the salary might not really be very enough for you to take care of them. So that is why majority of the Filipinos prefer to work abroad. Like if you check in the US, Filipinos, like majority of the nurses who works in the US comes from the Philippines. And also if you go to the Middle East like Saudi, Lebanon, Bahrain, Dubai, you would always find Filipinos there. Number 10, the first European to visit the Philippines was Ferdinand Magellan. He was a very legendary great explorer who traveled around the whole world during his time to explore and get to find and discover new places, new island. He was the one who named the city Cebu and also named it a Spanish colony. Am I really correct? Yeah, I think he named it the Spanish colony, and that is why Cebu is very, very unique from every island or city in the Philippines. Number 11, the first karaoke machine ever used in the world was made by a Filipino guy, and his name is Roberto Del Rosario in 1975. As for me, I love using the karaoke machine very, very well, but I never knew who made that. So when I was doing some research, and I found out that wow, the first karaoke was actually invented by a Filipino guy in 1975. Though the Americans and the Europeans are actually claiming that they are the first one to invent the machine, but in history and in record, the machine was actually invented and made by a Filipino guy. So I can tell Filipinos are actually very, very unique people with unique talent. Finally, that's number 11. What makes the Philippines quite different from every part of the world is that they are the highest producers and exporters of coconut. followed by Indonesia. But at the moment, Indonesia is actually the highest exporters of coconut. But irrespective of that, the Filipino export 150,553,000 tons of coconut every year. You can imagine that is quite a very, very, very large amount of coconut being, exported to every part of the world. So if probably you're eating a coconut in any part of the world, or maybe you're in America and you're like eating a coconut, I'm not saying other countries doesn't produce coconut, but majority of the coconuts which are being used in your clothes, your shoe, your tea, and all forms of stuff you actually use, just know that you might be using a Filipino coconut, and you might actually be benefiting from the Filipino coconut. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys really learned something very unique about the Philippines. But before I go, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, please and please consider subscribing. Turn on your notification bell so that you can be able to get future video even as I post. And also don't forget to smash the like button, and also don't forget to comment on what you really think about this video. So without no further ado, I want you guys to take good care of yourself, and I want to wish you guys a very happy weekend. Ingat!